as far as Gonzalez goes, Nick, and I'm sure there's all sorts of discourse out there like, oh, well, now the deal's done and now they just pay him and, the Krafts are cheap and all that. So it's a lot more complicated than that. So, number one, we know that Robert Kraft came out and said, we have made Christian a contract offer that would make him the highest paid cornerback in the league. I'm guessing, and it's an educated guess, that is in terms of new money on his contract. Okay. So basically the way these things work, because the Patriots have Christian Gonzalez's contract rights for at least 2 years, really 3 years when you put in the franchise tag. So this year, when he's supposed to make I don't know what it is, like $4 million, something like that. And then next year, his fifth year, you have the fifth year option, which is like $18 million. And then the sixth year, they could franchise him if this got like really ugly. Okay. So when we talk about the contract offer, which was for new money, and that's really these benchmarks where you hear Trent McDuffie is now the highest paid cornerback in the league. That's in new money. Okay. That's beyond year 4 and 5. And then Devon Witherspoon is now at $33 million. That's new money on the end of his existing contract. The new money part of this, Nick, is easy to do. Okay. And I'm sure the Krafts made Christian Gonzalez an offer between $33 and $35 million a year in new money. Always, for me, the complicated part of this negotiation, and I think it's reinforced with this Witherspoon contract, is what happens in these 2 years. Okay. So year 4 in year 5. And I'm just trying to call up the numbers here. But so we've talked about this before where there's basically 2 paths. Okay. And really before Witherspoon, it was just Derek Stingley in terms of getting a huge pay raise in year 4 and year 5 from what kind of money. So like, just to reiterate, Devon Witherspoon before this contract extension was supposed to make $5 million this year and $21 million next year. So that's $26 million. Christian Gonzalez is scheduled to make $2.8 million this year and $18 million the year after. So basically $21 million. Devon Witherspoon got a humongous raise over the 4th and 5th year. He is now set to make $59 million these next 2 years. That's a raise from $26 million. Okay. That's fine. Okay. That's something the Patriots really haven't done before. We don't know whether they're going to start doing it now or not. It would certainly set precedent for them. This is the thing. So with the Devon Witherspoon deal, and people have heard he has $101 million guaranteed. That's not even close to reality. Really, just his first 2 years are guaranteed at $59 million. That's it. Then they go year to year after that. Okay. It's similar to the Derek Stingley contract. If now the Patriots don't do that, okay, they don't give that big of a raise. Normally what happens is Christian Gonzalez would get like a $15 million signing bonus for this year to give him a raise, and then next year, and then the new money kicks in. The big question in all of this is what Christian Gonzalez is seeking, because what Devon Witherspoon did was he gave up he gave up long-term security in terms of guarantees going forward to get paid his bag in the first 2 years. That's fine. That's what Derek Stingley Jr. did. That's not what other people have done, including Patrick Surtain, who is the best cornerback in the league. He only went in year 4 and 5 to $18 and $22 million. Devon Witherspoon is going to $31 million for this year and $28 million next year. So if Christian Gonzalez wants to do what Devon Witherspoon did, just get paid for 2 years, and then you go year to year in the form of option bonuses, I'm sure the Patriots might be okay with that. The question is, does Christian Gonzalez want everything? Does he want the humongous pay raise in year 2 and 3? And does he want real guaranteed money through year, 5, 6, 7, what have you. So, we just don't know. Like I think the Patriots, I think, would do the Witherspoon deal if Christian Gonzalez gives up the future guarantees, which they would have to write a check for.
Right.
The Seahawks don't have to write a check for it now because it's basically year to year in the form of an option bonus, not a full guarantees. But and if Christian Gonzalez wants the long-term security, I'm sure the Patriots would be willing to do that as long as year 4 and 5 are more manageable than what Witherspoon got. I can't tell you what Christian's asking for, but if this goes on, that's the reason, is that they just see things differently. The Krafts aren't going to do a big money contract extension unless they get something. The Seahawks got something in terms of future guarantees. Will the Krafts do that? The Krafts either want what the Seahawks got in terms of less future guarantees, or they want to pay less money in year 4 and 5. I don't know what Gonzalez is asking for, but that's going to be the hang up in this, if there is a hang up. It's a scorching sports summer, and you can make all your picks on Prize Picks. Women's basketball and baseball are heating up, and every football preseason game kicks off this month on Prize Picks. And with big tennis slams and golf tournaments on the horizon, there's no better place for all your summer sports picks than Prize Picks, America's #1 sports pick app. The football preseason is here, and there's no better place to run your game than Prize Picks, America's #1 sports pick app. We've got star players on new teams and a rookie class ready to show out. I will tell you, I made my picks for the Patriots' first game. You will see that on my X account before this last one. If I got close to hitting, if it wasn't for a couple of penalties, and there were some, not to channel my inner Nick Cattles, but there were some BS penalties on the Patriots in that game, and like that refereeing crew was terrible. I can't believe that's a real officiating crew. Like the Caleb Lomo illegal downfield penalty, he was blocking the guy. That's not a penalty when you're engaged in blocking. But anyway, so that wiped out a big gain. I think that was Raritan's gain. Nikki's boy from Notre Dame, who I had some money on, got that 20-yard gain wiped out. But anyways, download the Prize Pick app today. Use code CLNS to get $150 instantly in lineups if you win your first $5 lineup. Again, that's download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $150 instantly in lineups if you win your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, America's #1 sports pick app.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, if you want to get business done, the Patriots have the leverage because, as you mentioned, Greg, you've got year 4 right now. You've got the 50-year option that you picked up, and then you can franchise Gonzalez in year 6. So as the team, you have the leverage in this situation. Now, would Gonzalez eventually get traded? Maybe. If an extension is not done, maybe you deal him, but that would not happen before this season. It would be a Trent McDuffie type situation that plays out, which is Gonzalez would play the first, 4 years on his rookie deal, and then maybe he gets dealt before, that 5th year truly kicks in and he goes somewhere else, and then the Patriots draft a young cornerback and try to replace him in that way. Mm-hmm. It's going to be fascinating because if you're just going off what Devon Witherspoon got, it is pretty easy as far as framework. If, as you said, Greg, if Gonzalez is willing to give and the Patriots are willing to give, you meet in the middle. That's how this should work. And if the Patriots say, we'll give you $62 million in the first 2 years in 26, 27, but we're not going to give you anything extending beyond that. We need some love back, so to speak. If we do that for you, then this thing should get hammered out. It's, 35 APY, 36 APY with the first 62, 63 million, whatever it is in those first 2 years. If Gonzalez is fighting back and he wants more than that, then honestly, I put that on the agent and I put that on Gonzalez's side because I think it's really fair for the Patriots to say, hey, man, we've got your next 2 years contractually locked up, and we're willing to give you a ton of money up front in 26 and 27 if you can help us make it up almost on the back end. If you're not willing to do that, then, I mean, you want, as Greg put it, you want it all. And I don't think that's realistic. I don't think it's realistic for Gonzalez to ask for it all. This is not, pro team versus pro player. It's find a deal in the middle. And that's what Witherspoon did. Now, I would just say this one last thing. What would give me some optimism is what we've talked about, Greg. Gonzalez and Witherspoon share an agent. And if the agent was able to hammer out a deal, of course, the agent works for the player. But if the agent was able to hammer out a deal with Seattle with that kind of framework, you would hope it would be easier for the agent to then go to the Patriots and say, let's work on something similar, but give Gonzalez a little bit of extra cash than what Witherspoon got. If that's the approach, this should get done relatively soon, no?
Yeah, no, I agree. And, from what I understand, talking to people with the Patriots, because, I was obviously gauging their reaction as soon as it came out. And I don't think they had a chance to look over the details or anything like that. But I was basically relaying them some of the information, and especially about, the 2 years. That was always the question for me. Like I said, the new money, beyond 2 years, that's easy to do. And plus, by the time you get there, it's going to be a deal. It just is. That's the easy part because it's future money. The cap's going up, like all this. That's easy. That's easy. The quote unquote new money and the AAV and all that stuff. That's easy. It's the 2 years. And I could see, and from what I understand from the Patriots, is that, not only were the first 2 years of focus for Devon Witherspoon, which ended up being the biggest part of his deal, that has held true in the Gonzalez talks to this point. And so if that's true, if that's what they're, and I don't disagree with the agent looking at that. Like I would, if I was an agent and I had a young ascending player like Christian Gonzalez, I'd be like, yes, there's a threat of injury and all that. We understand that. But to get $60 million plus in the next 2 years, I'd worry about the other stuff later. And plus, get what you can when you can. And then hopefully things work out for you. And then you can go back and maybe you're traded or whatnot. You can always go get more. I agree. I mean, if it just depends. The fly in the ointment of this is if Christian Gonzalez says, oh, I want what Devon got in the first 2 years, but I also want, guarantees going out. He gave that up. I'm not giving that up. I want it all. I want my cake and eat it too. There is no precedent for that in NFL contracts. Derek Stingley was basically a 2-year deal. He got the money up front and, gave up, long-term security. So there's no precedent to give everything, the 2 years and, guarantees going out. There's no precedent of that in the cornerback market. If Gonzalez wants to do that, I'm balking at it. But, the other part, Nick, that I wanted to mention, that if say you do want to trade Christian Gonzalez at some point, it behooves you to do some sort of deal now. That's how the Jets got 2 first-round picks for Sauce Gardner. The Jets gave him another $15 million for year 4.
Yeah.
And then, but the contract structure was in place. So the Colts just traded for him. They didn't have to pay him bupkis in year 1. The Jets were paying that bill. So they gave up 2 first-round picks. Trent McDuffie only got 1 from the Rams. That's because he hadn't come to a contract extension yet. So either way, it behooves the Patriots to make some sort of deal with Christian Gonzalez. We're just going to have to see what the structure is at the end of the day. But I do think it's going to happen. I think probably you start to get a little bit nervous, probably right after the final preseason game. That's when you kind of want to get things done, locked and loaded. Here we go. We're ready to go. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, and I think the biggest beef when I first saw the reports before the Witherspoon deal was done was, that Gonzalez was looking at 36, 37 million a year. And I did not want the Patriots to make that big of a jump on the APY. That's what the Texans did with Derek Stingley and with the new money I'm talking about. And I thought that was borderline irresponsible by Nick Caserio, frankly, when, new cornerback money was looking at 25 million a year. They gave Stingley 30 million a year. I thought that was ridiculous. That's bad negotiating by the football team. But now that you saw Witherspoon, I thought it was good news, Greg, frankly. Like, because Witherspoon did not necessarily, make that big leap, right? Like if Witherspoon signed a deal that put him at 35, 36 million on the APY with the new money, and he got, 70 million in the first 2 years or 115, 120 in total guarantees, then the Patriots would have to leapfrog those numbers. So now you're going from, 31 million to like 38, 39 million a year. So I think the Patriots kind of lucked out here that Witherspoon did not make a monumental jump in those categories. And that should make it theoretically easier to get something done. All right, before we continue with thoughts about Monday's practice, including Drake May, Greg wants to tell you all about Prize Picks.
Make sure to subscribe to our new channel, Patriots Newsfeed on CLNS, giving you clips, behind-the-scenes footage, and much more. And as always, keep it here, our Patriots on CLNS for our full podcast videos.